Hey guys, it's Maddie, and today I'll be sharing with you my worst books that I read in 2017. So I actually think I'm going to call this my most disappointing books of 2017 because I don't feel like I read a lot of bad books in a way. I think I mostly read some books that I thought I would love, but they let me down. So I would call them more disappointing reads. So it's unfortunate that I do have a list of these books, but for the most part, I didn't read a lot of bad books in 2017, so that is a good thing. I only have 5 books to share with you, so that is a plus. And I have to go with the usual disclaimer: if you liked any of these books, and if I talk bad about them or offend you, I am sorry, but they are just my opinions. So let's just get into my list of my most disappointing books of 2017. I'll be sharing these in order from least most disappointing to most disappointing book at the end. Coming in at number 5, oh, it kills me to put this book on this list just because this is my favorite series, my favorite fantasy series actually, and I did not want to put this book on this list, but it was pretty disappointing, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So I did give this book a 4 out of 5 stars, so it wasn't terrible. I still liked it, but since I love this series so much and the first 2 books are amazing, I just had really high expectations for the last book, and those expectations were not met. What really let me down about this book is the ending. I think it was very anticlimactic. Not a lot of sacrifices were made at the point where this war was going on. This war was so brutal, and everyone came out of it just okay, and I felt like that was really unrealistic and made me feel less connected to the characters because I felt like they weren't really making sacrifices. That was the biggest deal I had with this book that really let me down. There were also some aspects about a character in this book that I really hated that was used as a plot twist, and I didn't like the way it was dealt, and I won't go into that because of spoilers, but there were a lot of things I did not like about this book. However, I still give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I still love the romance. I still love Feyre and Rhysand to death. But I am hoping the rest of the books in this series will be great because I really love the first 2. Just ACOWAR did not live up to my expectations at all, so it was really disappointing. Next, I have The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. So in a way, I kind of felt like going into this book, I thought I might not like this just because it's a very political-based book, and I'm someone who just does not do well with politics. I don't understand them. So actually going into this book, I did feel like there might be a chance that I won't like this. However, once I started reading it, like the first few chapters, I was really liking it, and I was like, maybe I will like this book after all. Like, I really like the characters, I love the main character, and I was really into it. And then the middle of the book set in, and everything just started to drag and drag and drag. Like, this book went by so slowly all of a sudden. And I was loving the book at first, but then the plot just got so slow for me, and I really do not do well with slow books. So when the middle part started to come in, I was just not into it anymore, and I started skim reading it just because I wanted to get this book over with. I thought the first part of it was great, and then the last just let me down. So due to the fact that I was really liking the first quarter of this book, and then I ended up not liking the rest, really disappointing me. It just sucks because I really wanted to love this book and love this series because I know it's so well loved, but I just could not get into the last half of this book. And because of that, I will not be continuing off the series, but I know a lot of people do really like this book, so I would recommend to still give it a try if you're into like fantasy, but more so like politics. I think you would really like this, but it was just not for me. Next, I have a graphic novel. So I've said before how much bad luck I have with graphic novels. Sometimes I'm into them, sometimes I'm not. This was a case where this graphic novel just did not work for me, and that is Through the Woods. I believe this is by Emily Carroll. This is a horror graphic novel. Horror graphic novel. I use that term so lightly because this graphic novel was barely scary at all. I read this, I think, in May, so my thoughts on it are kind of like jumbled, but I just remembered not really liking it because the stories didn't make any sense at all. Some of the stories were kind of scary, I will give it that, but I feel like I was missing the overall feeling I get when I read a horror book. And it's that feeling when you finish the story and you get this just sense of uneasiness. But I just felt like I didn't get that feeling from it at all. I didn't get any feeling of like uneasiness, because when I finished the stories in this graphic novel, which this graphic novel is divided into short stories, every time I would finish a story, I'd be like, this doesn't make any sense. And because it didn't make any sense, it didn't make me feel like creeped out at all, because I was just like, what? None of it made sense. So because this was a horror graphic novel, and because I didn't feel any like horror vibes from it, it just was overall disappointing. Like, I expected so much more from it. Coming in at number 2 is a Colleen Hoover book, which kills me because I really, really love Colleen Hoover. But this was her first book she put out, and it just was not great. And that is Slammed by Colleen Hoover, of course. So the funny thing with this one is I was actually really into it just because Colleen Hoover's writing is so addicting. It doesn't matter if she puts out a bad book, like, you really just cannot put it down. And that was the case I had with this book. However, the plot of it was not great. So in this one, we follow this girl who falls in love with her next door neighbor. She just moved to a new town, but she falls in love with him the first day she meets him. It is the worst case of insta-love ever. And this couple goes through a big obstacle throughout the book that I won't say because spoilers. But throughout the book, you're supposed to root for them to get over this obstacle and to be together, but I could not sympathize with their relationship because it was so unrealistic, because they fell in love on the first day of meeting each other. So because of that, I did not buy the relationship at all. So I was never rooting for their relationship to work. So because of that, I just was not into the book whatsoever, and it just really kills me because I really love Colleen Hoover as a writer, but I was not a fan of this one. And this one is the first in a series, but I'm definitely not going to continue on this series. But I will continue to read Colleen Hoover's books for sure, but this one was just a dead because of the insta-love, of the fact that you were supposed to root for the characters to be together, and I did not find their relationship realistic, so I couldn't root for them. So the book was pretty much pointless for me. And now my most disappointing book I read this year. This is one that I thought I would really, really like, and I just could not get into it. I skim read like most of it. That is Wild Beauty. I believe this is by Anna Marie Miclemore. Her name is kind of a tongue twister. This one sounded really good. It's a magical realism book, and I had never read magical realism before, and now since I've read this one, I'm not sure if the genre is for me just because I didn't like this book. It deals with a family of girls who maintain a garden, and they can grow flowers from their hands. And the main plot is that every person they love disappears out of nowhere. So like, they cannot love anyone because that person will disappear or die or just be gone. So I thought that plot just sounded so interesting, and I just really was excited for this book. And then I read it and I was like, this is really, really bad. So the thing with this book is that it has beautiful writing. Like, I think the writing in it was so pretty, but it lacks so much in character development and plot development that I just could not understand the book. Half of the time I was like, what am I even reading? I did not know any of the characters. I did not connect to any of the characters because there was no development at all. And the writing was beautiful, but the thing is, you can't have beautiful lyrical writing and poor character development and plot development. That just does not work for me, especially when it comes to characters. If I could not connect to the characters at all, I'm not going to like the book. That was the case with this book. So it was just really disappointing. The cover is beautiful. The synopsis really intrigued me, but the payoff of it just was not good at all. So I was really disappointed in this book. This is my lowest rated book of the year with 1.5 stars. That 0.5 stars is just because of the writing, because I think the writing was beautiful, but the rest of it was really disappointing. So I'm really, really sad that I did not like it. So that was my most disappointing books of 2017. Again, there were only 5 books that I really didn't like this year, so that is good that the list is small. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below some of your most disappointing or worst books you read in 2017, because I would really love to know. If you liked the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below for more bookish related videos in the future, and I will be back really soon. Bye!